have some context. So 4 days ago, I made a poll in the Ace of Spades official Discord server, the topic being the opinions of the community on some proposed weapons which might be coming to AoS. People voted, and I had screwed up absolutely everything I had planned. Then the next day, I made another poll, which only accumulated around 65% of the total votes of the previous poll. A shame, but at least it's above 50%. I didn't expect the others to ignore the second poll, so I gave it 2 days of time instead of 1. And that is what I got. 196 in the first poll, and 125 on the second. The reason why I made 2 polls was because, as I mentioned earlier, I screwed up my whole plan due to overestimation. Let's take a look at the results of the poll, and see what not to do the next time I make one.
Chửi thề con cặc vô, mày nói chuyện vô dân quá. Mày coi chừng mày chết với tao nha mày.
What did the first poll have a problem with? That question is very easy to answer. Hey FSARS, Mark here. What happens if you put unknown and forgotten weapons together with popular weapons and let the people have a freedom of choice? This. Now, let's break this down. First, the answer to my question earlier. The problem is that I had put together a bunch of popular and already mainstream guns and then shoved in a bunch of unpopular and somewhat unknown guns, by personal preference. As you can see, absolutely every gun that has above 40 votes is a weapon that has been featured in mainstream and the most known games, such as the Desert Eagle via CSGO, M1 Garand via Call of Duty, the Enfield, Gewehr 43, and the Springfield 1903 from the same game, and the Arctic Warfare series of rifles, in this case mentioned L96A1, or just the Precision Marksman, from CSGO as well. However, the least voted are the Ash 12.7, featured in COD Modern Warfare 2019 under the name of Odin, still has less than 30 votes. The SR25 featured in EFT and under the name of Mark 11 or MK11 in Phantom Forces, QBU-88 in Battlefield 4, Regarding and the RSC 1917 being in Battlefield 1. The biggest influence on gun knowledge within the AoS community has to be Phantom Forces. Since Roblox players are unlikely to have played any other games outside of Roblox, PF usually does the gun teaching. It can be seen easily as to people suggesting freely the WWII and the M107 plus MA2 with the BFG 50. To make this bit not too long, since I can talk hours about this topic, we're gonna move on to the trooper weapons. Again, the same thing has happened. Popular and mainstream weapons have gotten high votes, and the unpopular and forgotten weapons have gotten low votes. However, here it's somewhat of a different problem. Military designations. People in games name guns by their military designation instead of their actual names given by the company that made the weapon. Example can be the SA-80 and the L-85. Both are the same guns, but the L-85 is the British military designation, since it's the standard weapon. But the SA-80 is the real name. Or in a different case, the SA-58 is a licensed foul copy. Since the SA-58 isn't really known in Roblox, except for the SA-58 SPR in Phantom Forces, people just ignored it, and only some that know it or recognize it did vote for it. And also, how the hell did the AK-74UB not get a lot of votes? I thought people knew about it more than the M4 Spectre, but has less votes than the Spectre? This really confuses me. I thought people knew about it more. But let's not stray off the topic and move on, going on to the Commando Weapons. The Commando Weapons had the least choices since there aren't a lot of unique shotguns out there, but we still got more than enough for the community to pick from. And surprisingly, the SPAS 15 had more votes than guns such as the Benelli M4 featured in CSGO or the R870, being the generic shotgun that exists almost in every game. The reason for that is because people really love the SPAS 12, so seeing that there's another SPAS gun, they instantly voted for it, expecting it in game. At least that's what I believe. It could be that the SPAS 15 is really popular and I just haven't really noticed. Then there are some miscellaneous questions, such as the opinion on the current Ace of Spades arsenal, and a little fun question about what people would pick instantly if they could add it in the game at the moment. And people, surprisingly, wanted more attachments than guns. And then the last question was about the opinions on secret reloads, and the most actually want them. Before getting the summary of the first poll out, and beginning to review the second poll, and also adding in the results, I'm going to talk about the first 4 questions that were in the first poll. which is the favorite Marksman weapon, the favorite Trooper weapon, and the favorite Commando weapon, plus the most used class in the game. The most used class question was the most obvious one, since 56% voted for Marksman, 29% voted Trooper, and 13% voted Commando. And I'm hoping that in 3.0 we can actually change that. Now, the only results that interest us for now are the top 3 and the bottom 3 of each class. Let's get on with them one by one. The favorite Marksman weapon is not the default rifle or the Henry, it's actually the Mosin with 57 votes. The Henry is the second, and the rifle is the third. And the least favorite weapon of the community is, drumroll please, the C96 Carbine, with 6 votes. Cheers to the people that stayed loyal to it. People have speculated it might have been the M14 or the WZ, but the WZ isn't even second in the least favorite weapon, it's third, and the second is the M14, obviously. The favorite Trooper weapon is obviously the Bar with 63 votes, rolling up on the second is the M60 and the STG on third. But there are 2 least favorite weapons in the game, the MP18 and the MP5 with the 13 votes. More than the C96 6 votes. Both weapons used to be meta in the history of the game, but all got nerfed and now are at the bottom of the chain. Second least favorite is the Fedorov, surprisingly, knowing it's got a high damage output and having mained it before. And the third least favorites are also 2 guns, Morse and the Thompson. The favorite commando guns are really a switcheroo all around. Before people tried using the Super Shorty, people disliked it without even trying it, but now it's seen as a CQB meta. Most love the shotgun is the Screaming Eagle, having a huge point difference with other shotguns, with its 75 votes. Second place is the infamous and nerfed continuously AA-12, with 64 votes. And the DB claims superiority above the SPAS-12 for third place, with just 1 point difference, it having 34 and the SPAS 33. Good evening everyone. At the time of me editing this video, I have decided to split this video into 2 parts. This one is talking about the first poll, and the second poll part will be coming some other day. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time on my hands in order to actually finish the video in one, so that is why I had to split. Thank you for watching this video anyway.